Hello, everyone. Hi, RJ. Say hi, RJ. Look at the camera. Look at the camera. Good boy. Okay, let me let you go. You don't like this. All right. There's your daily, or I guess weekly video, whatever I get to do a video. Dose of RJ. So, I hope everybody. Excuse me. I hope everyone is doing well. It's almost 6:30 here in New York City. I have been a bit under the weather recently. You might hear it in my voice. I've got a slightly stuffy nose, and I've just been very busy for the past week or so. It's been it's been a lot, both in my personal life, professional life. Um, in my professional life, I'm working on a big project, a yearly thing, and this is usually like the very work-intensive time. And in my personal life, well, as you can tell from the date, right, it's August 31st, which means tomorrow is September 1st, which means that 9/11 is only about 2 weeks away, right? Hey, RJ. And um, that's a very emotional time for me. Given what happened on that day, it's an emotional time for, of course, many people in and out of New York City, all around the world. Right? Our world changed, and it changed for the worse, sadly, on that day. But as I explained in a video last year, I think it was last year, where I went on went on a rant to say the least about Hassan Piker and some very insulting comments he had made. This is a very just emotionally just a very down time for me, um, given what I know is coming up. It's like I live with like a sense of say like dread. It's like, oh God, it's coming, right? It's coming. It'll, you know, see what I mean. As the saying goes, this too shall pass. But videos will probably be a bit sporadic as at this time as I sort of try to get through my work stuff and try to fight off this oncoming cold, and of course, deal with the um, sort of down feelings, right? That 9/11 and just knowing it's coming um, stir up in me. And then, of course, there's the fact that uh, our elected oppressor, Bill de Blasio, is not doing the memorial in light, right, this year. Every year, to my knowledge, I think every year, almost every year, in remembrance of the Twin Towers and what happened that day. You have the two lights that represent the Twin Towers. They're lit up, in remembrance of what happened that day and the people who died and all that stuff. Not just in the attack itself, but people like say first responders, who ended up losing their lives, years after the fact because of breathing in the smoke and the asbestos and all this other stuff. But because he cares more about virtue signaling and political ideologies and divisions than he does about the city or you know people who live here or lived here, or the people who died on that day for no good reason, right? Who cares about their lives, right? That were just snuffed out. I guess you could say what's the term now? Thanos, right? Thanos snapped. You could say in an instant, in an act of terror. But hey, who cares about those people, right? If you can't use them politically, what's the point in honoring them? This is how sadly politics work, and sadly how De Blasio works. So just this period in general, especially with all the stuff going on in the world, it's just been a bit of a downer, and I tend to be a naturally a sort of pessimistic sourpuss anyway. So it's like all this negativity compounding, and it's just like, oh God, I can't take it. And as for all of the more recent drama and everything with another shooting and another city going up in flames, all I have to say is that for whatever valid criticisms they may have been about how the police dealt with that, I'm reminded of a saying. I think it's attributed to Ralph Waldo Emerson, but I doubt that he's the first or last person to ever say this. But it's something to the effect of, what you do speaks so loudly that I can't hear what you're saying. And that's how I feel that these, riots and these fires and all this stuff and these supposedly peaceful protests that result in people getting killed. I heard recently, I don't have too much information on the story, but I heard recently that a person who was a Trump supporter or had a MAGA hat or something was just brutally just murdered just for being a Trump supporter. It's not like they got into a fight or something and they ended up losing their life, but just again like just living, existing in the world, and you happen to wear stuff that shows that you're a Trump supporter, and it's like, how many more lives have to be lost for incredibly dumb reasons? You know what I mean? It's like, you don't have to like Trump, you don't have to like Republicans. It's totally your right to disagree with the man or with the party he represents or whatever. But it is not your right, and you have officially overstepped your bounds and given up your rights, in my opinion, when you murder somebody for basically supporting someone you don't. That's not a reason to kill someone. There are a few reasons in this world where maybe you have to kill someone, right? Someone is, you know, about to kill someone else, someone is about to kill you, right? Or someone's doing something, egregious, like raping a child or something, or raping someone. And those are instances where it's like, yeah, you had it coming, right? But being a Trump supporter is not that. It is not something that a person should be killed for. You want to criticize them, okay, fine. You want to insult them, I think it's a dumb thing, but fine, whatever. It's just words. But when you go from that to murder, you officially lost the plot, and more importantly, someone has lost their life because of this. So again, whatever message or whatever critique there was is being drowned out by all of this absolute senseless violence that hurts everybody involved. This man shouldn't be dead. David Dorn shouldn't be dead. Cannon Hinnant shouldn't be dead. There are plenty of people on both sides of the issue. Even George Floyd is as guilty as he was as a human being. He shouldn't be dead. Right? There are plenty of people who should still be alive right now who are dead because of the idiocy and the divisions that people have come up with, right? We've become so divided that we don't even want to try to understand. Doesn't that understanding doesn't mean you have to agree. Understanding doesn't mean you have to agree. Understanding means just understanding. Trying to see from the other side, trying to see the other point of view. But we've become so in love with this, or at least some people, I should say. I'm speaking we in a collective sense. But there's such love of violence. It's like, just getting drunk off power, right? And all these people that I have to say, I do think a lot of them are useful idiots out there, thinking that because they victimize other people, right, by robbing them or killing them or burning their homes or businesses down, and they feel, oh, I'm justified because I'm on the right side of history. The right side of history is never, ever, ever the side of abuse. Those are abusive tactics. It's domestic terrorism. The right side of history is never, ever on that side. That's the wrong side of history. That is being a bully. And sadly, you have people out there who are just getting off on being bullies, right? It's to compare it to Star Wars, right? It's the Sith, right? Right? They become drunk on anger, fear, rage, power, right? And what happens? They cause nothing but destruction in their wake, because they were never ever about improving things or solving problems. They were about causing chaos and causing pain, right? And what happens in the end? People who are innocent get hurt. And I hold people like the politicians, celebrities, right? Anybody who's some sort of influencer in the world, especially on social media, responsible. When you have useful idiots like Oprah and Trevor Noah talking about white privilege as they sit in their ivory towers completely isolated from the real world or from the violence of the real world, I officially don't care what you have to say anymore. When you have Trevor Noah trying to shame people for being concerned about the damage done to businesses, businesses that employ people, businesses that keep people working, right? But here's the thing. He can criticize and say, oh, if you're for the businesses, if you're concerned about the businesses, you don't care about the people. See, he can say that because he's, just locked up in his home, right? He's safe. He's safe. But best believe that if it was his home, his car, his property, he'd be mad as hell. Because it would be his stuff. Because it would be stuff that means something to him. Especially if it were something like, say, his computer or whatnot, something that he needs to use to make content so he can make money, right? Something related to his job. Which, keep in mind, things like, the store, right? Or, say, a person's car, right? Those are business expenses for many people. And when you ruin those things, when you destroy those things, you destroy a person's livelihood, which means that you destroy the livelihoods of those who work for them. You destroy the livelihoods of the people who depend on them, such as their children, right? None of this violence is going to solve a damn thing. It's not going to convince cops to change their policing ways. It's not going to solve any social issues. And then you have, again, useful idiots like celebrities, using their platform to either stoke the flames or to shame people who say, no, this is not the way, right? This is not the way, right? You know how on The Mandalorian they're like, this is the way. No, this is not the way. But instead, again, we get people like Oprah, like Trevor Noah, like Steve Bloom, the voice actor, right, using Toonami and whatnot to shame people. It's like, well, even if you think you aren't racist, you have to re-examine your views. It's like, fool, prove it. You want to call me a racist? Prove it. Prove it. Because I don't have to put a hashtag on to say that I'm not a racist. I'm not going to sit here and try to prove that I'm a good person or that I'm not a racist. Show me where I did something wrong. Show me where I expressed an opinion that was racist. But the thing is that, these days, right, it's the shame game. And they want you to, cower and kowtow and go, yes, massa. Yes, massa. I do what you say. I do what you say. And I don't play that. I don't play that. Unless it's God or Shirley Manson whenever Garbage plays Super Vixen, I bow to nobody. That's about it. I bow to no one. And I'm not going to allow a celebrity who doesn't know a damn thing about me or a damn thing about the real world tell me what I am or am not as a person. And for whatever my advice is worth, please don't allow these useful idiots to turn you into a useful idiot. Don't allow them to gaslight you and make you question your sense of self and who you are. You know who you are. You know exactly what your views on a matter are. And don't allow their baseless criticism to make you question what you know is true. Right? If that makes any sense at all. And the last thing, I didn't intend for this to go this long, but that's how most of my videos work. But I just go on a rant and here you go. But the last thing is that I happened to be watching a video a few minutes ago that was talking about Ellen and the whole scandal with her and a toxic workplace and her not being as kind as her public persona, especially through her TV show, made her out to be. Here's the way I look at it. Now, I have nothing against Ellen personally. I was never a big fan of her show from the 1990s, or her comedy act, or her talk show. She always came across to me as just incredibly nervous, and that just always irritated me. But here's what I think, just in general, about the idea of kindness. What is kindness, right? Kindness is not what Ellen was doing. Even if this scandal had never broke, I never saw, and I'm not trying to sound mean, but I never saw Ellen as a necessarily kind person. I saw Ellen as somebody who was trying to present herself as inoffensive. And to me, being overly inoffensive, right? Because I don't make content, generally speaking, to be offensive. I'm not trying to trigger anybody. At the same time, I also feel the point to speak my point of view and be honest about it. And I know that in doing that, that could foster some dislike or some disagreement or whatnot. But I endeavor to be honest. You may agree with me, you may disagree with me, and that's all well and good. I'm not trying to offend you, but at the same time, it's like, well, if you get offended, SOL, sorry about your damn luck, right? But to me, Ellen, how do I put it? I'm trying to sort of get back on track now. To me, there is a difference between kindness and simply being excessively, if not painfully, inoffensive. And to me, Ellen always conducted herself or presented herself in the latter, right? Showing that, oh, I'm nice to everyone, right? We never yell, we never scream, we never get angry, right? And I'm like, that's not kindness. I'm sorry, but it's not. And we have this thing today. One second, my door is open. Okay, good. We have this thing today, and it's been around for a while now, where you have people who try to come across as incredibly inoffensive. And RJ, make up your mind. Make up your mind, Cat. I'm trying to record a video here. Are you coming or are you going? It's like a Clash song. Should I stay or should I go? I guess he's staying. But anyway, as I was saying, there's been this trend where people try to present themselves as non-threatening or as inoffensive. And to me, that's not kindness. That to me is exactly the opposite of kindness. That could be taken as weakness. And oftentimes, as we're seeing more and more, it it creates the classic, wolf in sheep's clothing situation, right? Someone who truly is predatory or who is not so nice, right? Someone who truly is a threat or toxic in some fashion hides behind this persona of, I would never say anything unkind. I would never do anything mean. In fact, I was watching, I think it was last night, I was watching another video. It was a fitness related video actually, but there was this fitness YouTuber, I think his name is Obese to Beast. He's a guy who lost like nearly 200 pounds. And he was reacting to a video where a woman who's a part of the fat positivity community was basically throwing shade at another woman in the same community because that woman had decided that she was going to do a health journey and a weight loss journey to help with her own health issues, right? So she decided to get healthier for her own sake, and then you have this woman basically in the same community throwing shade at her for wanting to do something to better her life and improve her health. And what struck me about the woman who was throwing shade at the other lady, right? I think it was Glitter and Lasers. I think it was, what's it, Fat Girl Flo, I think the girl. She was the one throwing shade at Glitter and Lasers. But what I noticed about the person who refers to themselves as Fat Girl Flo is that they try to present themselves from the way they look to the way they speak as this completely inoffensive person. I don't mean any harm. I don't have a lot of opinions, but and I'm like, no, that's a wolf in sheep's clothing. That's a lie. That's using the image of kindness, right, or meekness to hide a sinister intent. I would rather someone who looks scary as hell but means all the best than someone who doesn't look like a threat but truly is, right? Like one of my favorite YouTubers personally is Jocko Willemick, right? He's a former Navy SEAL and military guy and all this. Dude looks scary as hell. Shaved head, he's freaking huge. Right? His face is usually half covered in shadow. If you've ever seen his podcast, right? He creates this very intimidating, mysterious aura around himself. Even the way he speaks is very low and controlled and very, very intimidating, right? But if you actually listen to his content, you realize that this guy actually is trying to help people. He's trying to help people improve themselves, right? He's approaching it from a very uh, militaristic mindset, given his experiences. But the things that he tries to encourage people to do, to be self-reliant, be in control, to not shirk or shy away from adversity or bad things in life, right? To have a measure of control over, I wouldn't necessarily say over their emotions, but how they react and respond to them, right? And you see that he has a positive message, right? Now, maybe you can't do everything that he suggests. Like, for example, I cannot get up at like 4:30 in the morning and work out. I can't do that. It doesn't work for me. But I can get up earlier and I can get some exercise in, right? I can take the principles and apply them in a way that works in my own life. So I'll take a guy like him, right, who looks scary as all get out, but actually has a positive message that can help a person change their life and improve themselves over someone like, say, Fat Girl Flo, right, who has this type of appearance to her, but really all she's doing is just slinging mud at somebody who didn't ask for her opinion anyway. Somebody improving their own life is just that, improving their own life. Unless you are related to them, are involved with them in some way, or give them money or pay their bills, who's who the hell cares about what you think, right? Or unless they are going about it in an unhealthy manner, then maybe you might feel a reason to speak up. But if none of those things are happening, then really, who the hell is you, and why did you care? You know what I mean? So anyway, back to Ellen. Inoffensiveness is not kindness, because kindness at times has to be offensive. Kindness at times has to be a bit tough or a bit mean, right? For example, the old saying, being cruel to be kind, or tough love, right? Those things can of course be taken too far. Anything can be taken too far. But kindness is not always kind. Kindness does not always feel good. Same way reprimand and reproof and discipline, right? For example, your teachers or your parents or your boss or whatever tells you that you're not doing right, or you did something wrong, or you're guilty of something, right? Hearing those things, dealing with being punished in some way for an actual wrong you committed, right? I'm not talking about abuses of power or authority, right? But honestly, being punished for something that you did wrong, it never feels good, right? You hate it. And you may honestly feel that it's unjust at the time it happens, because maybe you're a teenager, maybe you don't have all the facts, you don't see what the other person sees, right? But then you grow up, right? You get some life experience, maybe you become a parent yourself and you realize, oh, wait a minute. What I thought was an unkindness, or what I thought was my parents just being mean, or my boss just being a jerk, Now that I'm in their place, now I understand why they always got on me about timeliness, or why they always got on me about, um, the people I hung out with, or whatever the situation is, right? As you get older, you begin to see why things were a certain way and why certain actions may have been taken against you, right? That's called maturity. That's called growing up. You realize after the fact, oh wait, this was my parents or my friend or whatever being kind. This was them trying to instill a good trait in me. This was them trying to teach me a lesson. I just didn't understand it then. That is kindness. Somebody, for example, take that friend, right, who is willing to tell you that you're doing wrong. Or maybe you have a friend who tells you, look, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whoever it is, your husband, your wife, they are cheating on you. The person, one second, the person who is willing to tell you the straight dope, the person who is willing to tell you the hard truth, whether it's about yourself or about something else involving you, that is your best friend. Because that person is the kindest person you know, because they are willing to risk a friendship to save you, from yourself, or to save you from a bad situation. So you want to talk about kindness, that's kindness. Somebody who is willing to say, look, you're about to go down a very dangerous road, or this person is not who you think they are. That is kindness. Somebody willing to put their neck out for your sake is kindness. Being inoffensive and never stepping on people's toes, never being willing to confront them, is not kindness. It's weakness and it's cowardice. And in this case, with the case of Ellen, apparently it was just a front all along. But anyway, that's the video. Please let me know what you think. I know I kind of went here, there, and everywhere. It's just a rant. It's like I had like a bunch of things on my mind, and well, here it is. So please let me know what you think. I'll see you all around, and have a good day or good night, everyone. Bye.